Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Guys!
Alright guys, we're rolling. Welcome to Wacko Radio. Tonight's a special episode. We're going to be talking about a special film that means dearest to our hearts. That changed our world. And we actually have two special guests, new special guests who haven't been here before. And we're going to talk about one of our favorite movies, if not maybe one of the greatest movies of all time, which we will tell you what the movie is after the music. Wacko Radio. Suspense. Here we go.
Here you go, way too fast. Don't slow down, you're gonna crash. You should watch your step. Don't look out, gonna break your neck. So shut your mouth.
Alright, welcome guys. Welcome to Wacko Radio. We got two guests, but we got Liz Wacko, rubbing her belly in the corner, as always.
It's always. Recently.
And we got C-Dog, Ciara, Barth, and B Diggity, Brian Barth, Double B. Butterfinger BB.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for
Welcome. In tonight's movie, Liz Wacko, what movie we're gonna discuss this evening?
Dumb and Dumber.
Ooh.
Yay.
Yeah.
1994. We just clapped the whole time.
Yeah.
1994, written and directed by the Farrelly Brothers, Peter and Bobby Farrelly, this was their first film. But let me ask, so we're gonna start off since we talked about doing this podcast years ago. And as soon as we said, let's get this going, I was like, we gotta ask you two, because you guys are the masters.
Love it.
And so I want to ask, like, the ultimate question was, the first time, where were you guys the first time you saw Dumb and Dumber?
I was probably at my house. I don't think I saw it in theaters.
No,
and I think
probably too young.
I was maybe around 8 when it came out, and I was already on the Jim Carrey bandwagon because I watched In Living Color when I was little.
Oh, nice.
I was into Ace Ventura, The Mask.
You were in
it?
it?
Into it. Yeah. So I was just Jim Carrey was my favorite. So I'm pretty sure I saw it, probably rented it and watched it at home.
Yeah, I think I saw it at home too. I did not see it in theaters. I do remember seeing Ace Ventura in theaters.
Really?
But I didn't see Dumb and Dumber in theaters.
You were young then too. How old are you now? Maybe?
I'm 30. I'm gonna be 35 next month. So I was still
young. You were like 10.
Yeah,
maybe?
about that. Well, yeah, 11.
Did your parents take you? Did they want to see it?
To Ace Ventura. I went to see
Ace
that
Ventura,
with my dad and my brother. Yeah, but Dumb and Dumber was... my mom wasn't too keen on me seeing it at first, but...
This is like any mom's. And still, I know, like, I feel like everyone's, that movie's stupid.
Yeah, they think you're going to lose brain cells or something watching it.
Yeah.
Liz Wacko?
I was probably about the same age. Like,
Yeah.
I remember Living Color, always... Like, just because it was always one of my favorites.
Did you watch it while it aired? Like, did you guys watch it? Like,
yeah, I would sneak because I wasn't allowed. So my parents had a TV in the room, so I would go up there and, like, watch some of it and then come back. I would say I was doing my homework or something. Mm-hmm. And then I would go there and watch some of it. And then,
why is your homework so funny? I don't know, it's a good problem.
Why don't you pay attention? Yeah, it's still my problem. But,
so you were at home, like,
Kirshner, they had it. They
I wish I remembered.
So I didn't see it they didn't. Oh yeah, I remember the important things. I didn't see it in theaters, but I
maybe
saw
that's
it
what
at
happened
her
because
house.
you weren't doing your homework. You were like Dumb and Dumber marathon.
Yeah, why are you laughing up there? I don't know. But I was at her house and we watched it, and I just remember like just the whole time we laughed. I'm like, this is so funny.
Yeah.
So. I remember my cousins saying that they were a little bit older and they saw it in theaters.
Oh man!
And I remember them talking about it, and I was like, I can't wait to see this movie. And they said like how much fun it was seeing it in the theater because everybody in the theater was cracking up, and you know what I mean. Like,
I saw the prequel in theaters.
Oh, I never even saw.
Dumb and Dumber.
I saw that in theaters. I remember
Yes.
that, which was like at the time was awesome because I was like, yeah, like a sequel or prequel, and then we saw the second in theaters. So
I saw the second.
At least
Yeah,
we had
yeah.
that. I guess we all experienced that.
Yeah.
kind of had to. It's like
Oh,
paying
yeah,
homage
that's
to
right.
the first one.
Yeah.
I remember when the first time I saw it, my parents rented it, and I think I actually might be the youngest here. So I was like, I don't know if it probably came out in '95 on VHS. So I was probably like 6, maybe 7 when we rented it, and it was a big thing we talked about on podcasts before. We're like, if there was ever like nudity or something, I would have to like either turn around or like leave. And since like my parents didn't see it, like in the dream sequence when which is stupid because it's PG-13, they should have figured like there probably won't be like any nudity in this, but there's a scene when like Jim Carrey takes off his coat, she pulls down her thing, and the camera pans down, it's like 2 headlights.
Yeah.
But they didn't know that, so I remember I had to turn around.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, like it was because always like as a little boy, it always just sucked.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, let me just see, and then. I probably didn't get. That's kind of young, like 6, 7. I was too young to probably even get
what was happening.
Any joke anyway.
Oh, well, yeah.
So I don't even really remember watching it, but I remember turning around, and then about like 6 months later, we were at this pool party with like family friends, and they must have rented the movie, and that's like, should I like turn around? And they're like, no, you could watch, and that's when I realized there was headlights.
Oh, so you didn't know? Oh,
I didn't know.
Oh, okay, that's
so the kid was coming up, like I was sweating. I was like, what am I doing? Am I allowed to see now?
Go ahead. You're like.
Yes,
cool.
it was headlights, but that was my.
You probably had the same face that he had when he saw it. Like,
yeah. Now, have you guys ever seen the unrated version of the movie?
I wonder if that's what we own it.
It's the extended unrated. We saw some scenes the other night. We just watched it the other night that I had never seen before. Really, I'd never seen the extent. So there was.
I remember owning it on VHS and then knowing that for so long. And then once VHS went away, I think I really only watched it every time it was on TV.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting...
edited.
Yeah, so I got used to that version.
Yeah.
And then when we watched... we had a DVD, which is probably... There were extended scenes.
Yeah,
so
like there was... The scene...
Like there were some jokes that were
like... The bathroom scene?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
We were going to bring that up.
I saw more Cam Neely than I really wanted to see there, man. That was...
Brian just kept going, what the heck?
How do you know that actor's name? Was he like...
He's a professional hockey player.
Really? Did you know that?
I did not.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
So Seabass.
Seabass is a professional hockey player.
This is why you guys.
Brian will pull out all the obscure.
I couldn't tell you more. I don't know much about hockey. I couldn't tell you what team he played for or anything like that.
The important thing.
Yeah.
He was.
So was he a hockey player at that point? Was that like a big deal to have him in it?
I'm not sure. He may have been done by then, or I'm not sure, but.
He looked a little bit
I just know
older,
that he was a hockey player.
Yeah, I couldn't even recognize him in the sequel.
Now I feel like maybe I hope I'm not misremembering that. I hope
no, he is a hockey player.
Because this is big. If I'm misrepresenting myself right now, that's not good.
Just change the Wikipedia page and say he's a hockey player.
Well, I would honestly recommend because the unrated version. It's not as good.
It kind of took the jokes didn't
some
hit
things
right.
And like the transition to some scenes. Like I remember. Okay, like for example, in the original version, this is like very like, random and obscure, but there's this hilarious line, not to jump so far ahead in the movie, when he's like, she's just like, how can anybody kill a bird with a corkscrew? And the guy's like, these guys aren't anybody, they're good. And in the movie, like the real version, it cuts to like them skiing and like that Mary Moon song comes on, so it's like, but in the unrated version, it goes to some other scene, and it just kind of throws off like the flow.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember watching it, and that Seabass thing was the one thing specifically. It is pretty extreme. He's like, here's your happy place.
I'm like, oh man,
Jesus.
The hockey player really
stop.
It turns like upsetting.
It did become kind of upsetting. Another thing, which was
you know what actually. I remember being younger and I know what happened in the bathroom was probably something weird. Yeah. But like when they cut from that straight in, you don't really see what happens in the bathroom in the original, and then they cut from that to him just like curled up in a ball in the seat, and he's like, "I'm done talking about it."
Oh, and that was extended too.
Because Harry kept
when Harry and Lloyd were interacting in the car.
You're right.
About what happened.
And that's in the unrated version.
Yeah.
And it seemed out of character for them to like be that. I don't know. He was being really antagonistic towards him.
Yeah, it's almost like these were. And that's what they say. Like it's like those things were probably cut for a reason.
Yeah.
And that's probably why. And actually, one of these facts I have. This is insane, and I kind of wish it's like watchable. But the first cut of the movie when they screened it was 3 hours and 40 minutes.
I need to see all of that.
Insane. Like the Farrelly Brothers, I guess they had like a private screening with their friends.
Yeah.
And I guess they didn't realize, like, this is, like, way too long for any movie, let alone, like, a comedy. Like, 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Wow,
and, like,
that's like Return of the King.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Caliber there, yeah.
So after they showed the screening and they all felt good about it, it's like their first movie, their friends were like, this is terrible. Like they all hated it.
Oh,
And
wow.
they all like, Jesus. And then I think they cut it down to like 2 hours. And then screen it, then they cut it down to like an hour 40, which ended up being. But 3 hours, that's insane.
It's like
how
how.
much-
What else would they have done?
Especially for comedies, you know, you never see a straight comedy that's.
Let's look at Judd Apatow movie, and then it'll go for like.
Those go long,
How long
man.
was Funny People? Did you see Funny People?
I did.
It's like 2.5 hours.
It's long. His get too long. I mean, I like Apatow, and like I've been a fan of those guys, but that is one thing. Like, and then they have like unrated versions or director's cuts versions of like every one of his movies, and it's just like. You're not crazy about. Are you guys big Apatow fans? Not too.
I am. Brian's
She likes
not.
him.
Really.
He's okay. I don't know.
You haven't seen a whole.
Like you saw 40 version's pretty good.
So I don't like Seth Rogen. So if you don't like Seth Rogen, you're not a big Apatow fan.
He just doesn't like him because everybody says he.
Everybody says I look like him. Yeah.
You know, I would get that. I would get that too,
people
man.
tell me
So
that too,
I mean,
and I would never even. No, never.
no, I don't think you look. No.
Our neighbor, real quick, Brian was walking home from the bus stop one time and like, because I think Seth Rogen's cute, so I'm always like, oh, he's like a little Seth Rogen, and he gets like, he's like, that's not a compliment.
Definitely not.
And so one time he was walking home from the bus stop and like he helped some lady carry her groceries in.
She's like,
he's
you
such
know
a
who
gentleman.
you look like? You know that one guy? I'm like, don't tell me Seth Rogen. She's like, yeah, that's it. Like,
But she like yells at you as you're like
Yeah.
walking away. She's like, you look like Seth Rogen.
Seth. But yeah, comedies. That's way too long. Even if the movie was maybe the unrated version was maybe 2 hours because they had all. Well, I remember in the DVD, maybe the unrated, they also had like they had the extended version like where you watch it, and then they had like deleted scenes, and they had a whole sequence when. Do you ever see the scenes when like it was a lot with Mr. Andre. Or no. Well, yeah, Mr. Andre. What's his the bad guy?
yeah, Mr. Andre.
Mr. Andre, sir.
Nicholas.
Yeah. They had all the sequences with like Mary Swanson's husband like in the box. Did you see those scenes?
We watched that.
Oh, we didn't watch it. So these were like behind the. These were like extras on the DVD.
I bet you the DVD that you guys have, they have those deleted scenes and like the alternate ending and stuff. Where the alternate ending was. The hotel like offers them some job or something, or like you can stay here and live here, and Lloyd's like or whatever he says. But I remember there was a scene like it was a whole thing with like he was like in this crate like Mary Swanson's husband, and there was a scene where like they're talking, and in the background outside the window there's like a frozen lake, like you see the box like I guess he's like trying to get out, and you see the box in the background.
Oh, no way! No, I have to see that.
You gotta check that out.
Because we've wondered, like we just said the other night when we were watching it, and when he got out of the car and she hugged him, and he was like sore, like, geez, I wonder what happened to him. I wonder what they did to him, you know?
I mean, that's the thing. In that movie, I'm not paying attention to
The plot.
Like, I'm like, it's just...
Which, though, I mean, it is like a pretty good... I mean, there is some pretty good, like, twists and turns in that movie. Don't you think?
I think so. Yeah, because like one of the things like I do just in life really is like always look for humor or find something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And so one of the reasons why I like the movie so much is because it caught me off guard a lot.
Right.
Like I was like I did not see that coming.
Mm-hmm.
So that was I think like it actually does have a good plot.
Yeah.
If you watch it and like try to like pay attention to what they're saying because it's hard. I mean,
because even as a joke when he like. Goes the wrong direction. If they would have went that other way, they would have hit like the police border because they were all set
I see
up.
what you're saying. And
then by the time they went that way, they're on the bike, so like they're looking for that car.
I never thought about that.
We gotta watch it again and
That's
just
true.
look at.
You gotta study it, watch it back and rewind.
One thing him and I were debating. I'm pretty sure I'm right. The female cop that was like undercover with the skis and all that.
Harry, you never called.
You never called. So she was following them from
the gas station.
From the gas. Well, is that? Wait, hang on. What am I trying to say?
When did she realize?
When did they start following him from the rat poison thing, and that's when they decided to start following him?
Did the ski scene happen or like I call it the ski scene, but when he asked about like the skis,
was
that after the rat poison?
No, that was. Oh, that's a good.
No, I think that was before because that's like.
So she's like, we've been following you since Aspen.
Right.
So the rat poison was out. Wait, no, since
rat
Rhode
poison
Island.
had
Were they
to
in Rhode
happen.
Island?
Oh, she says we've been following you guys all the way from Providence.
Yeah.
Providence.
So what happened in Providence to make her start following? Was it the dead bird thing? Was it?
Maybe That is. She said that since Providence.
Yeah.
Unless they were still because they weren't in Providence when the Rat Poison happened.
Right, they were already on the road.
Well, here's the thing: if they, what about this? They may have been at the airport, and they may have seen him swoop in and take the briefcase.
Oh,
yeah, you're right.
And so that's why they weren't sure what to think of them because he was thinking.
Well, I thought it was from the dead bird. Because the dead bird makes it on the news.
That's true.
Because they're like, oh, you know.
So why did the FBI?
That's true. The same reason why the FBI put Harry in a bulletproof
I'm
vest.
pretty sure. So I'm not gonna say. I don't want to say anything bad about the FBI, but this movie makes the FBI look ridiculous. I mean, what would the FBI really work like that? Like, that's a risk we were willing to take. What if they shot me in the head?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They're basically like, we don't care, just some idiot.
Oh, that's so funny.
I don't know, or she just said that because they knew that's what they were from, and they were kind of, I don't know. Or it's like a plot, or it's like a mistake. I mean,
I don't know.
That's a good point.
Maybe it's in one of the edited scenes.
Maybe.
There's a reason why.
Do you think there's any scenes that are too go too far? Because I feel like I can almost every comedy that we're a fan on. There's normally at least one scene. It's like this movie's really good, but maybe this was too much. You think there's anything in this movie that was too far?
You mean too dumb or too far fetched or too
maybe too
joke,
dumb
maybe
or
trying to stretch
besides the unrated version, which you gotta try to get a hold of the original DVD.
Yeah, to watch
because that unrated version, I'm telling you, man, it's not as good.
Yeah,
it's I don't know.
That's a good question.
I mean, so when he's reading the paper and he can't say the word "the," okay, that is a hilarious point in the movie, I think.
Yeah.
However, he was reading some other words, but yet he could not read the word "the."
I guess maybe because "the" was such a basic word, but that is it's like "the." I just like in that scene when they're crying over the Pacific Bell.
Oh yeah.
And
it's like, what's on next?
Yeah. It's a commercial.
Yeah, I guess if I had to think of what I think the too far-fetched thing might be the bulletproof on the giving him the
what about the
vest,
dream
maybe.
sequence when he's think some stuff in that? It's I know it's a dream sequence.
Yeah.
Which actually, it was kind of
Oh, when he pulled the heart out of the guy?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny when actually, it's kind of bullshit. Not bullshit, but I remember I watched, it was, Jim Carrey was on, David Letterman, promoting that movie. And they showed that scene with him doing,
Flips
doing the flips and stuff and doing the ooh, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh. And I'm thinking, why would they show that scene? Because if you would see just that scene and not know the other movie, you would be like, what
that
the
doesn't
fuck
make
is
any
this?
sense.
I would. Well, I would agree with you that would not be the best scene to promote that movie.
Yeah,
it's not even explaining.
I know it shows
anything about the movie,
physical. I guess because he's showing him be silly and physical, but if you had no idea what the movie was and you saw that scene, I would be off
would make not want to
by it.
Yeah.
And plus, the movie is, for me, just watching the chemistry between the two characters. So you should at least show a clip that's
You're
right.
Yeah, they could have
I wonder if it's maybe I'm probably thinking way too much into this.
No, dude.
But that was Jim Carrey at that time was goofy physical humor, and so you go from The Mask, which is just him acting like a basically cartoon character, to maybe showing that scene to kind of push. Hey guys, it's a Jim Carrey movie.
Yeah.
He's gonna make weird sounds.
What came out? Because all three of those movies, and that's what they say, it's his three best movies, were Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber all came out the same year, which is crazy to think. I wonder if Dumb and Dumber came out.
What was shot?
Dumb and Dumber was it. Well,
Dumb and Dumber actually, in fact, came out Christmas of 2000.
Oh right,
it was the last of the three that came out.
So it was probably.
I don't know what order it was shot, but I think it was Ace, The Mask, and then.
Because here's a fact. Maybe you guys know this, maybe not. But so Jim Carrey signed on to Dumb and Dumber before Ace Ventura came out.
Oh, okay.
And
so
do you know this? So when Ace Ventura, when Jim Carrey did Ace Ventura, he got paid $250,000, which is a nice chunk of money, especially for not really being a movie star at that time. Besides being in one of those obscure movies, because Jim Carrey was around for
Bitten? Have you seen it?
We actually just the other day it was on TV.
I love it.
But so basically, he was signed on, and the Farrelly Brothers who did Dumb and Dumber, they got to screen the movie, like Ace Ventura, like, oh, Jim Carrey has a movie coming out. Like, oh, sweet. So they got to see it before it came out. And the Farrelly Brothers were like, shit, man, this is like good. So in their mind, they're like, this is like jackpot, basically. We got this guy signed on. Then Ace Ventura came out, and it was one of those movies that every weekend would make more and more money each time. So because of that was happening, like they kept raising Jim Carrey's like salary for Dumb and Dumber. So it started at $250. You know, Ace Ventura was out for a week. Okay, he wants $350. He wants $500.
Yeah.
It ended up getting up to $7 million. He got to do Dumb and Dumber.
Wow,
that's crazy.
And which at the time he was the highest. That was like the highest paid comedic actor ever. Like no comedic actor got paid $7 million. All from that movie. And the budget of Dumb and Dumber was $16 million. So that means like almost half the budget.
Oh my god, this is so.
Which seems like. Is that like you're on like thousands of sets? Like is that? I mean, it seemed like that movie today? I don't know. Would they spend that much on that movie today? Like $16 million?
Yeah. I mean,
I know that's low.
I was gonna say when like movies start, I can't even fathom what that money. You know what I mean? Like I have no idea when it comes to budgeting for films, like how much. Well,
you're
would
like,
be, but
I mean, do you see? Because you're like in the offices. And
I mean,
stuff.
I see contracts, but like I'm not. I don't even want to look at numbers because and the contracts I see are not anybody above like nobody.
Like
not
you're
like
not
not like
gonna
1
see
through 4.
Steve Carell's
yeah, exactly. You'll see day players or something like that. But yeah, I mean to think. Well, did you see about what Jeff Daniels made?
$50,000.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Did you hear about how I was reading that the brothers wanted him, and the studio didn't.
Yeah,
and so
it was almost they offered him that.
They like lowball. Yeah, they just lowballed him because they're like the studio was like, oh, let's give him a really terrible rate. He'll say no, and then we'll get who we want. And then he said okay to it. So I think that would be like.
He nailed it too, man.
I don't know if actors know what other people are making, but you would think like, oh, Jim Carrey's rolling in with $7 million.
Oh my god!
Can you imagine like that jump? And he's in just as many scenes, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I mean,
and he was great.
Hopefully, Jim Carrey at the time. I don't know if his head got real big at that time or what, but I wonder if there was that awkward. Because I'm sure Jim Carrey knew. Do you think he knew that he was making like such like that? I don't even know what percentage that is. Like that is
like
insane.
Changing overnight, basically. You know.
But actually, here's a fact that is not on IMDb. Did you get your facts off of IMDb? Ciara?
This when I was reading up, I was just Googling some things. I didn't read the IMDb facts.
Well, I just rewatched this. Actually, you guys saw Kevin Pollak a couple months ago.
We did, yeah.
But he has this. Kevin Pollak has this. It's called Kevin Pollak Chat Show. It's like a podcast, video, internet show he's had for years now. But Peter Farrelly was on it. It's actually really good. I would actually really recommend watching it, and because I learned all sorts of fun shit. But the three people that Jeff Daniels' character Harry was down to was Jeff Daniels, Kevin Pollak, like was apparently almost had it, and Chris Elliott. You know who that is?
Oh yeah, Chris Elliott.
Man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I
so
can
it was between those three.
Didn't they want Harlan Williams? Didn't you say they wanted Harlan Williams to play Harry's?
Yeah.
But maybe that just maybe it wasn't a finalist.
Yeah. I think it said that was Harlan Williams' first movie.
Yeah. Was it?
Which, by the way, if you get Harlan Williams' scene is the classic scene when he's the cop who pulls him over and drinks the pee.
Keep your mouth shut if you know what's best for you, buddy.
The state of Pennsylvania. But anyways, okay, so Jeff Daniels, Chris Elliott, and who's the other
Kevin
one?
Pollak.
Kevin Pollak.
Yeah.
Was Kevin Pollak that style?
Well, that's the thing, and to come back to Jeff Daniels. Since the studio was like very confused about like, because Jeff Daniels was a comedy actor. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing he was in at that point was Speed, right?
Speed didn't come out yet.
Speed. I thought Speed was before.
No, actually, Speed might have been the same year, and actually his name was Harry in Speed.
Right, that's right. It was. Yeah.
Like we watched Speed. I don't know when that was, and we started laughing. His name's Harry. But yeah, it's almost hard. I mean, we talk about this stuff all the time to try to like imagine what a movie could be like, but it's impossible.
Right.
I mean, because now that the movie exists,
well, that's the thing. It's become such both of them have become so iconic in the movie that if you start trying to put other people in one of their roles, it's just like ridiculous. It's like, no way, I could never see anybody else.
I know.
You know?
It's like impossible. I think it's like mentally impossible to even try to. But that would have been interesting. But yeah, with the Kevin Pollak's case, because he started as a a stand-up comedian, but then he did a couple movies before. He did like these pretty big movies. He was in like A Few Good Men and Usual Suspects. So these kind of like these like drama movies.
Yeah.
So then he was kind of pegged as this like dramatic actor when he's like, no, I'm like a comedic actor, and that's why the studio was like, no, we can't get Jeff Daniels. But Jim Carrey was very like adamant about like, I want Jeff Daniels, and they were just confused like, why do you want a serious actor? And even the Farrelly Brothers were talking about when their career started. They were like, what about like Robert De Niro for something funny? And everyone looked at him like, no, he's like a dramatic actor. And then cut to
and then they got
Meet the Parents, was probably his first, and he's like hilarious.
Analyze this, and now he's like almost kind of he
is
made
a
himself
comedic
almost
actor.
a joke.
Seriously. So it's just one of those things that like, I don't know, these studio people need to shut up. Like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I get what they're looking at from like, okay, like you want two funny actors on the poster, not, but it's like.
And what's great is their styles. I feel like if you had two goofy people, it would be like
they'd be battling for the spotlight.
Yeah. If you threw like if Robin Williams and like Jim Carrey ever did a movie together, I feel like it would just be like too much. Yeah, too much energy. Like Harry or Jeff Daniels is like. I mean, he plays it so straight, which is just so
he's
funny.
Just as funny as
he really is.
He is.
His facial expressions and his hair, like just all of it is just.
Yeah.
Was he in any other? I'm trying to think of other like real comedies.
Like since that movie, even.
Yeah, since right.
I don't know, dude. I mean, I'm sure his pay rate went up after that movie. Well, I don't know what it was before his 50,000.
Yeah,
I mean, they consider Arachnophobia a comedy. I mean,
maybe. It's like that's
right. What was that movie? Fly Away? Was that with him and like a girl and they like build a flying wooden duck or something? I don't know.
Fly Away Home?
Yeah.
With the ducks and he's like flying with the ducks.
I never saw it, but I think that was like the next preview I saw, like with him in it after Dumb and Dumber, and I'm like, what is this? Speaking
of, it's funny, I actually wrote a note about previews. I remember, and it seemed like they did this a lot more like in the 90s and stuff, but I remember the trailer for Dumb and Dumber, and if you watch it on YouTube or whatever, there's a bunch of stuff in it that's not even like in the movie, or like alternate takes. And it's kind of, I feel like movies used to do that all the time in trailers. But now, like, I don't know, trailers, for the most part, show, I don't know, like, I don't know if do you guys watch, like, the superhero movies?
I do. I love them.
You love them?
Yeah.
You gonna see Justice League?
You know what, I'm a little behind. I have not seen Justice League.
I mean, it just came out.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
No, but I haven't even seen Wonder Woman. Well, I mean, I haven't even seen Wonder Woman yet, so I'm a little behind, yeah.
Dude, it's fine, man. But, like, those movies, those trailers, like, just show so much, man. Like, I remember seeing the Spider-Man trailer for, like, the last one. I'm like, there's, like, these huge sequences. I'm like, you could probably predict the whole movie.
Right.
Yeah. Opposed to, I'm not using Dumb and Dumber trailers as an example, but, like, you watch that trailer, like, doesn't, like, you don't see, like, big chunks of sequences.
Right.
You don't know what the hell's going on. But
do you remember what's in the trailer? Did they give away any of the big jokes? Or did they keep...
No, because a lot of it's, like, different stuff.
Okay.
Like, really...
Oh, that's right. You just said, like, different...
Yeah, like, or their alternate takes, or, like, even, like... I don't know if in the unrated version, but when Harry's tongue stuck...
Yeah.
I remember that was in the trailer, and she, like, pulls it off, and when his tongue, like, snaps, like, it cuts to, like, a crowd of people watching, like, oh!
Oh, okay, yeah,
and that wasn't in the movie.
No,
Maybe in the unrated version it was, but, it's, like, hilarious, though.
I remember sticking my tongue to, like, everything after that movie.
I know.
Let's see if I can do that.
But it sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
No, please.
Go ahead.
Please.
No, it's your podcast. It's Wacko Radio.
You're the special guest. You guys are the special guest. I don't know what I was going to say, actually, so I forgot.
All I was going to say is, did you guys grow up with siblings or anything?
Yes.
Did you, like, act out the movies all the time?
I did, yeah.
Like,
we did that, and we did that a lot with In Living Color.
Yeah.
On the playground at school.
Really?
Homie, don't play that.
So
Beating the crap out of people.
We don't play that.
That and Jim Carrey had a character, the guy in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So that was always one of my
favorites. Yeah, that is
and so
good.
we would react.
Oh, man.
That is funny.
Yeah, like, we'll watch movies together that either I watched when I was little, and I'm like, oh, me and my brother used to... Like, I mean, running up the stairs, my grandma's house, we would always just yank somebody else's...
Race you
like,
up top.
Yeah, we'd go, I won! And, like, every time, you know? It's just... Yeah, half of the things that we would... You know, we had a parakeet at the time, so we'd always, like...
Oh, that's hilarious.
Just all of it.
Do you guys... Sorry, but... Liz Wacko.
It was nothing important. I'm surprised they didn't ask for a bird after that.
Yeah, right.
Because everything else, I mean, I have 2 dogs, Cripes and Lloyd. Christmas. So...
What do you guys know some of the original titles for Dumb and Dumber?
Oh yeah, I don't think I know.
I do.
Got real serious, sorry.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, basically, when they had it called like Dumb and Dumber, but when they were like, which they wrote it in 1990, so it took them about 4 years to finally make it, and a lot of agents, when they would get the script, they're like, I'm not giving this to our actor, our client, like a script called Dumb and Dumber. Like they were all, so they changed it. They at some point they were calling it Go West.
Oh, that would have been. I don't know if I really like that one.
It would have been weird. And the other one, a power tool is not a toy.
You could do a lot with that.
Yeah, I don't know. But then I guess apparently when they called it that, more people and actors
started to read it.
Yeah, started to read it.
Huh.
And I remember that Peter Farrelly was saying how, and this is kind of more of a, nothing necessarily to do with the movie, but a kind of a good tip, I guess, for people who are maybe trying to get into this business. But he said when they were trying to get the movie going, and they would approach people, he would say like, oh yeah, we're trying to get this movie made, and one of either a producer or an agent or someone, they said, well, you know what you have to start doing? When you go to these meetings or talk to these people, you should, instead of saying we're trying to, say we are making. Like, we are making this movie.
Actually...
We are making this movie. Then all of a sudden, people
makes
are
it
like,
sound more established already.
It.
Yeah.
Oh, I better check this out. If you're trying to, people will start questioning, like, well, then why?
What step are you at?
Yeah.
What's going on? Yeah.
So for anyone, like, aspiring for anything, I mean, it was kind of like a motivational thing to say. It's like, that does make sense.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure people would rather hear that. You know what's funny? It's funny, crazy thing, because we were talking about Judd Apatow a little bit and stuff, how it seems like today's comedies are much more like, maybe raunchy, and we've talked about this on other podcasts, but the fact that this movie was almost like any Jim Carrey movie, they're all PG-13,
right.
And it's crazy to think that, like, this movie is PG-13, but still, like, so funny, when today's standard and today's audience, I feel like things have to be so, like, raunchy and, like,
Shock
value, and it's crazy to think that this movie's, it's like a hard PG-13. Like, it maybe could have been R if they kept like that.
Some of the
kept some of the uncut stuff,
which is like too much. Another thing I heard that they. You think about Seabass?
It's enough to make anyone gag.
Apparently, a great scene where when he throws the snowball at her face, which is like hilarious. I guess they had an alternate take where, like, when she stood up, she had, like, blood.
Oh,
like, from her nose, and I guess audiences were just like, ugh. Like, that's, like, too, like, that's, like...
Like, it upset them.
Yeah, like, upset them, so I guess they must have either had another take of not blood, but that was kind of an example of that, which was... Because, yeah, and that scene is hilarious. I mean,
it's so funny.
Good. It's so good.
Then he just tackles her to the ground and roll down the hill.
I know.
So funny.
And actually, the directors were saying how, that, like, they thought, like, Harry... The Harry character was like that they assume that's what Jim Carrey wanted to be, because they said, like, that's like the quote unquote like funnier character, or maybe he has more of the funnier bits and stuff, but Jim Carrey was like, well, that's like basically saying that's why I want to be Lloyd, because it's maybe not as out, far-fetched and more grounded, so then he kind of, and so that would have been interesting.
He has more to play with. You mean maybe more to I don't know. More of a challenge in some ways, right? Because I would never. I mean, I'm curious to see what the original script. I mean, I'm sure he ad-libbed probably so much. You know.
Did you ever see Scriptorama? Have you guys ever been on that website?
No.
I discovered it in like high school, back on Web TV.
Nice.
But if it's still out there, it's like Scriptorama, and it's all these movie scripts you can find, and like you can. I don't know what
are they the actual scripts?
Yeah,
or are they
like you can see.
transcripts?
I mean, I'm trusting, but. You'll see, like, revisions and all that at the bottom and the dates of where they were written. And then you can go through and see. So you can see what's, like, ad-libbed and what's been added and what's been, like,
well, I don't know if it was 3 hours and 40 minutes. It must have been a fucking long script.
Right. Man. Well, or they just played around so much that they just kept rolling and kept it in there.
That's impossible, though. That is,
3
hours and, like, not to get back to that, but that is insane. Like, how much...
I can't imagine.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah, it's...
Like, even if they had those deleted scenes in from the DVD, like, it wouldn't have been close to that. I mean, that's...
Even if it was, like, all really good,
right.
It's, like, so long.
Unless there was more of, like, the bad guy sequences about, like, what's... Like,
like
what they're up to, what they're doing,
character development.
Yeah, their arc.
That's funny.
Yeah, but the script though, like looking at the final product, I would never have guessed that they originally wrote Harry's character to be the funnier of the two. Not to take away from his character at all. Yeah. But like, I mean, I don't know, just the way that Jim Carrey, if he added some of that stuff or whatever, but I don't know. I really
think about
I really
the
think,
sequences. Like you have
like the shit
scene.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
like that.
That's
you
a good
have
point.
all the stuff at the ski lodge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have
yes.
There's like more. There's funnier bits, but Jim Carrey added funnier.
Yeah, I guess
things to like his.
I guess I never really thought about there were more individuals bits and like scenes for Harry.
Yeah, the tongue. Yeah.
I mean, really, the only one that Lloyd had by himself would have been the bathroom scene. Or with with
Seabass.
With Seabass, right? Yeah. Was there anything else where he was like...
But even that, though, like...
the little old lady. Yeah, that's a good...
That was one thing Brian and I were talking about. Do you think the little old lady was offended and that's why she robbed him? Or do you think her intent... Like, do you think she was a bad old lady to start off with? No,
she was going to be fine. I mean, he said dangerous and slow behind the wheel. Like, don't go dying on me. Like, you saw her face completely change from like, all right, I'm going to get this guy. I'm not putting up with this crap.
What is it like? Some sort of like pornographic magazine he's trying to
Rhode Island Slut.
It's Rhode Island Slut.
I think that was another joke I didn't get until I was older, and I'm like, oh,
yeah, because like, you couldn't really see.
Yeah,
like, you know. Because I remember Rick deliberately looking at like Rhode Island.
And he like has his hands full, and he's like, oh, I think I'll stop for this.
Just
he's like,
just the essentials, Lloyd. Just the essentials, and then he comes with the pinwheels and the hat and the.
Like stacks of beer. He can barely get his fingers in there.
The first time he says cripes is when...
Right, yeah. He drops his wallet in the... Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I remember laughing after that when he goes home and slams the door. He's
like,
and he like melts to the ground. That was always something we
didn't even see it coming.
I didn't even see it coming. It's like, well, it wasn't a... kind of pissed her off.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the... Let me save it. Yeah, it was kind of another random ass fact was the Farrelly Brothers, or at least Peter Farrelly. I don't know if the brother, how much they both, because like some of their films, if you look at their filmography, like sometimes they're both credited as directors.
Oh, okay.
Like this one was just like Peter Farrelly was credited as director. So I don't know if he did more of the writing stuff or what, but I know they were, or at least Peter Farrelly was writing for Seinfeld.
Oh,
like
he wrote a couple.
That, like he wrote like I think they wrote an episode for it, and then like nothing happened, and they ended up filming the episode and didn't tell them until like later. They said, "Oh yeah, sorry, we didn't tell you. Like we filmed this episode." I learned this on that Kevin Pollak chat show interview, and I think we're Seinfeld people are like sorry, like here, like write another episode, blah blah blah, and they did or whatever. But Peter Farrelly was saying like if they would have got brought on as like full-time Seinfeld writers, like. Dumb and Dumber like may not have.
Yeah.
It's one of those like one of those life things. You look back. I'm sure they look back and said, if we were like staffed as like a Seinfeld regular writer or staff writer, Dumb and Dumber and all those movies may have never been.
That's really interesting because I don't look at Seinfeld comedy and Dumb and Dumber comedy. I almost look at two completely different types of comedy.
Yeah.
Like
I'm so
I mean,
curious
Larry David. I would think is like. Very different from the Farrelly Brothers style, It's
yeah, because that's how he started. He started at, and it seems like a lot of people, at least back then. I don't know if more so now, but it seems like a lot of people do start off as like they basically write their way into the business, and then end up becoming directors. Which even with this movie. Because Peter Farrelly, he didn't direct anything. I mean, they were just a writer for like probably close to like 10 years.
Wow.
And they said basically since like Jim Carrey was brought on, that no one really questioned.
Yeah, that's true.
Because like Ace Ventura, like Tom Shadyac was like a nobody director, and that movie was such a success. And Jim Carrey was probably like, okay, yeah, these guys wrote it, yeah, they could direct it. But the Farrelly brothers and Peter Farrelly said like. Months up into it, he was just like waiting for some big. Hey, so you guys have like a reel or like a resume? Like what have you guys directed? Right. And like so they never directed anything. And he said he didn't know. They didn't know. Like they read some books and stuff, and I think they went on a set for a day just to shadow a director and just to see. But like,
that's probably how they got almost 4 hours of footage.
Probably. But that would be intimidating. Yeah, you should definitely watch that Kevin Pollak interview because it is good. But he was saying how like the night before, like he basically had this like full-fledged panic attack and was just like, I don't know, like we don't know what the fuck, what are we doing? Like we don't know anything about this. And I guess they like came forward to the director of photography and the AD, first assistant director, and basically said like, look, like we don't know what we're doing. So like make sure you guys, and I'm sure they were like established people at that time. But then now the Farrelly Brothers have some of like the funniest movies. I mean, this being their first movie, it was crazy to think that. But they said like, because you would think like the directors they would get like offers. Yeah. Like, but they said it was so marketed as like, oh, it's a Jim Carrey movie. Yeah. Like the directors were kind of just like, Right. Yeah.
Well, especially being their first one. I mean, it's and it's right in the height of Jim Carrey's like. I mean, it just happened so quick, obviously. But after Ace and the Mask, and just like everyone was on the Jim Carrey train at that time.
They did. Did they do There's Something About Mary? Is that
that was.
So was that right after?
Film. No, they did Kingpin a couple years later.
Oh, okay.
Which Kingpin's like really funny too.
Yeah.
But that was another one he talked about on that interview. Like that was one of those movies that get bombed in theaters.
But it got like a cult.
It had like when VHS came out, like it kind of was one of those. Like you hear that all the time with movies.
Yeah, right.
Like it bombs in theaters, but then when it comes on video, it becomes this like whole other thing. Which
Austin Powers did that.
Oh yeah,
was it a bomb?
Yeah, I remember seeing it in the Dormont Theater for $1, and everyone was like, "This movie's stupid," and I liked it. Just saying.
You guys, Austin Powers fans?
I never got into Austin Powers. No,
I'm not a huge Mike Myers
fan.
But
I like Mike Myers as Shrek.
Would you say
I like him as Shrek.
Wayne's World? You're not crazy.
Oh yeah, like I feel like I liked him more Saturday Night Live, those kind of things than when he branched off and
I could respect that.
So we all have that one movie that is just like when everyone finds out that you've never seen it, they're like shocked. Wayne's World is that for me.
I never knew that about you.
I've never seen Wayne's World. Yeah.
No, we watched it.
No, we maybe started, but we never finished it.
When Farley comes out and he's on like, was that Wayne's World 2? When
he's
Farley's
in both of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
When they're rocking the vote.
Never seen it.
Which one?
Well, the second one they have they like have like Wayne stock, like they make like the concert.
Oh, okay, yeah,
but the first one, Chris Farley's like some security doorman.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
We'll have to watch it.
We'll have to watch it sometime.
The first Wayne's World's pretty good.
Yeah.
But then the second one's like funny too, but that kind of, I don't know, like most comedy sequels.
They're usually never.
Like they never are. Like even what did you guys think of Dumb and Dumber 2? Bring that up.
I don't know, maybe because you're a girl, you can feel the same way, I don't know. It was a little bit cruder, so it kind of creeped me out, because I'm like, Jim Carrey, you're like a dad to me, and you're making like these weird...
Well, I think the fact...
Like him with the old lady at the... Was there an old lady at the Rockers? Things like that, where I'm like, this is weird.
And there's something about the fact that they're now more than middle-aged men, basically. Yeah. That I think that just kind of added to the kind of the creepiness of the like the old lady scene.
But I mean, aside from the more pushing the crude side, I think I'd have to see it again. I only saw it once.
Oh really?
But I laughed. I dedefinitely laughed at some stuff. But some of the little bit grosser things, I kind of was like, oh, this is.
I always felt bad the one scene, when in Dumb and Dumber 2, it was like a dream sequence. Like I think they both have a dream. Like Harry has a dream, and then Lloyd has a dream sequence like involving the girl. Or how does it work? But I feel so bad, and it's almost even uncomfortable to talk about. But like the little girl, because Harry dreams about like raising a daughter.
Okay. Oh
right.
So she's like 12 or 13, and like I guess she had like a girl problem thing. So she had like a stain on her. You know, and he like gives her a cork.
Okay, yeah. It's
just like, man. I don't even like talk. I don't even like bring that up. I've never seen that. I'm like, because you guys are saying it's like a little bit more crude, and with like with him like blowing the dust from the old lady.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny, I guess, but I don't know. Like the second one, I feel like the sequel. I would compare it to like Ace Ventura 2. Like it's funny, but like I don't know. Maybe like they just go too far. Like specifically Jim Carrey. Like, I feel like Ace Ventura 1's, like, super solid, and the second one's funny, but like he's a little bit more. He takes it up a little, like, not a little bit more, and someone's like, is this too much? And the same with Dumb and Dumber 2. It's like
they were playing the character, like it's like they were imitating their own characters.
Yeah, it wasn't, and they weren't actual characters. Yeah, because I mean there was a few. Yeah, like
but the second's good though. I mean, I mean,
like they took the bike like down the street.
Yeah, it's like a block away.
You know? Like, so like that made me laugh, and then like I felt bad, but when they're looking for Freda, you know, and they approach her at the funeral home, I guess, and then Harry's like, "Excuse me, sir." I remember I busted out laughing. I was like, "Oh my god, that's so terrible."
Or like Harry's parents are like Asian, and they're like, "Harry, you're not our real son." He's like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, like he just found. Like obviously, he's like, "What?"
So yeah, it was. I wonder if the second one was as successful as the first one. That'd be something to try to like find out.
I mean,
like money wise.
Yeah.
I think though, to your point, Brad, it's comedy sequels are probably the hardest genre, I think, to create a successful sequel, especially when the first one was just so groundbreaking.
Yeah,
you know,
iconic.
because there's no way that anyone went into the sequel expecting it to be anywhere near as good.
Yeah.
I mean, and so, I guess sometimes it's good to going in with a little bit lower expectations because then you enjoy it more. But I feel like comedies, if you to make a successful sequel to a comedy that's that iconic is near impossible.
I think so, man. We actually talk, and we actually discussed having a separate podcast about like comedy sequels, but like I don't think there are, unless you consider Rush Hour 2 is like just as good, if not better than the first one.
Too, yeah. Well, like the Meet the Parents, is a good example. They just get worse and worse, don't they? I mean,
exactly.
Isn't that what people would say?
That's what I'm saying. Like, so comedy wise, like
Ace Ventura 2. I think, at least in my opinion, I'm okay with it. Like for a comedy sequel.
Do you think it's better than the first though?
No,
you watch
I had to think.
You watch yourself
because there's so many. I just think about, and again, maybe it's just nostalgia, but like, Ace Ventura 2 was only a couple years after.
Like, according to IMDb, it was like 1
96.
Yeah, that's like 95.
95. Yeah, I mean, I just was. I don't know. I was so obsessed with Jim Carrey. Like, I had a T-shirt from Gabriel's with like Ace Ventura 2, and like one sleeve. It was back when Gabriel's was like, maybe it still is, but it's like all the rejected clothes.
Yeah.
It's like one sleeve was shorter than the other, and I had my little it was like a school picture. I had like an Ace Ventura shirt.
Oh, I saw that.
Ace Ventura book. I should find it.
I remember that picture. Yeah.
I think I did. Yeah, and it's like I just was was so obsessed. So I think maybe, but even being older, looking back, I'm okay with it. But like if Dumb and Dumber 2 didn't happen, I feel like I wouldn't like miss it.
Yeah,
but if Ace Ventura 2 was gone, I'd miss it.
Yeah.
You know what would be an interesting sequel to Jim Carrey to make is a sequel to Truman Show. How is he in the real world?
Did you like that? What you guys like? Did you see that idea?
I love the Truman Show. Talk about a groundbreaking movie.
He loves that.
That was the first time that an idea like that I think was. Well, I mean, maybe not the first time, but yeah, I thought that was a great movie.
See, that to me is that's more. Not like the movie itself, but that's pretty horrific. That's like a horror movie.
Yeah, it's true. It's definitely not a...
Like, if they would have made it a little bit, like, darker, I'm sure
they could, yeah, you're right.
That's, like, straight up, like, that's some scary shit.
It's not a traditional comedy by any means.
What about the Cable Guy? What about that?
She likes
love the Cable Guy. I remember when I was young, I was disappointed when it came out, because it wasn't the same kind of, like, humor, and I was like, what is this? This doesn't, like, this is creepy and, like, kind of dark, and... but now that like I'm older, I love watching it. I think it's so funny.
Because you watched it for the first time like a couple months ago. We put it on. Yeah. Or was it longer than a few months ago? 6 months ago, maybe. I don't know. But what did you think, Liz?
I thought it was okay, but I don't know.
I'm not a Matthew Broderick fan.
No, not a Brody.
Maybe that was it. Maybe I don't know. Like,
you know who was almost the Cable Guy though, to come back was Chris Farley.
Oh
my goodness. Now that would have been...
But what happened, though, was he... I think they were under contract with maybe Paramount. Because they did Black Sheep instead.
Yeah.
And I know Chris Farley was kind of, like, pissed. Because David Spade was all, like, ready to do Black Sheep. And I guess, like, Chris Farley kept pushing it back. and he's like, I want to do Cable Guy. So
really,
he tried to somehow get out of Black Sheep to do Cable Guy, and they did. And Black Sheep's great. I mean, but Tommy Boy's probably better.
Yeah.
I mean,
I look at Black Sheep like it is a sequel to Tommy Boy.
Pretty much. You haven't seen Black Sheep.
No.
I don't think you've seen it
parts
either.
of it.
I
Like parts.
think I have,
But
actually.
It's not,
like
it's
from
funny.
beginning to end.
Yeah.
But Tommy Boy's, that could be a podcast on itself. I love
Oh
Tommy
my
Boy.
gosh, it's so
I think that's up there, man.
I can't believe Chris Farrelly was going to be the Cable Guy.
Can you
I
imagine?
wonder if it was going to be the same.
I don't know.
It's just
No.
so,
Maybe
it's
it
just so
would've been
funny.
better.
It's just so funny when you hear those kind of things and you start picturing like
I know.
how different it would have been and how, you know, if it would have been better or worse. I mean, you can never say anything would be better without Jim Carrey, but
Chris Farley was
But
supposed
Chris
to be
Farley
Shrek.
was up
He was
there,
supposed to be Shrek, too.
He was, yeah.
I
That.
think he started.
Well, they
before
have, yeah. If you, I think on YouTube you could probably
Yeah,
find like
it's super
original.
sad.
But he just took his life to the limit, I guess, and unfortunately, and now I guess Kevin James is like the new Chris Farley, which is kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I'm a fan, but I feel like I don't know.
They're just like, oh, if it's a bigger guy and he can control his body well, then let's just
Yeah.
call it, you know.
well, and he replaced him in the Sandler groupie.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like I remember, I think like David Spade was on Howard Stern or something, and they brought that up. Like, would have Chris Farley been like in Grown Ups? Like,
Yeah.
and he was like, probably,
Yeah.
probably, you know. But yeah, yeah. Back to D&D. That's what the kids call it.
D&D.
I don't know. So what? Okay. Well, there's two questions. Well, no, don't. No, actually, Ciara has about the hotel, right?
Oh no.
Why? Pressure.
I had read that where the hotel that Dumb and Dumber shot in was the hotel that The Shining is based on, like
Yeah.
the actual haunting that happened within that hotel was where
Yeah.
they shot at. And I also read that Jim Carrey requested to stay in that room.
217.
Yeah, and then pieced out like halfway through the night because he said it was just he was.
And then they said he wouldn't talk about it.
Oh really?
Right? Is that you? Because I read that too. I read that on.
Well, it's like they asked him about it and he wouldn't.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, I don't.
Because I know, like, The Shining, they made, like, a TV movie version of it, and I think they shot at that actual hotel.
Wow.
So if you go to that actual hotel, which is in, I think, maybe Breckenridge, Colorado, because, by the way, they're not in Aspen.
They're in Breckenridge.
Did you guys know that?
No.
It's not actually. I guess it was too much money to shoot in
To shoot
Aspen,
there.
so they filmed somewhere else in, like, I think Breckenridge, or maybe near Breckenridge, Colorado. But
Beer doesn't flow like wine there.
Exactly.
All your comments should just be.
Women instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano. Sorry.
Here's the question. I tried to look up like trivia questions to try to bust you guys. But every one I brought up was one of those ones where you have to like go through it. It's like next question, and sometimes when you do those on your phone, it takes like.
It's all.
But why does Harry not want to go to Aspen?
Oh, because he wants to stay and finish the worm. Well,
No.
No, what do you think about the French?
Oh, the French are assholes. Right? Yeah.
Nice.
Well, but he also says, no, Lloyd, I want to stay. We stay here and we finish our worm farm.
Brian wants to see the alternate universe of what would happen if they would have stayed and owned a.
Yeah, if they had not followed Mary and stayed in Providence and developed the worm farms and what their next jobs would have been after the chauffeur and the dog groomer ended, you know.
In the Dumb and Dumber cartoon, that was a thing, right? I'm not making
Really?
that up.
I know there was an
sure,
Ace Ventura. There was a mask.
I'm pretty sure there was and I think they
Was
may have
there?
had a worm farm. I can picture.
I think there was
I
got
picture
worms.
The animation.
I'm trying to think. I think there was a cartoon.
It like kind of looked like the Fairly Godparents type of drawings with like the weird like.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It does sound familiar.
Angry
I think
Beavers or something?
Yeah.
What here's a good question that Liz came up with. What were there any jokes when we all saw it as kids? Were there any jokes that like just completely went over your head that now watching it you think like, oh shit, like I get it now?
Oh man, that's a good
And
question.
it might be a tough one. I know I didn't understand when he was like, yeah, unless you want to work 40 hours a week.
Yeah,
like,
that
I
was
didn't
the one.
understand.
That was totally.
'Cause I didn't know like that's like a stand. I thought that was.
That does sound like a lot.
Yeah,
That's terrible.
I didn't know.
Who would do that?
I remember being confused. Even like I got worms. Like I wouldn't. Not like that's some sort of an adult thing to get, but like I wouldn't. Like, why would you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like probably the first time I saw it, I was a preteen. So if I had seen it though, if I was maybe 8 or 9, like you guys probably were, that there would probably be a lot more that I feel like that would have gone over my head. Yeah.
Well, like that John Denver's full of shit. John
right.
Denver is.
I remember my parents laughing at that.
Yeah.
Like every vacation, every family vacation in the summer, we'd have one movie that we would just. Me and my siblings are obsessed with them. We just keep it on every time we watch. And Dumb and Dumber one year was that. Now turn this off. Oh my god, we're done. And this movie isn't even funny and blah blah blah. Because it's like they would just see it, but they weren't even watching.
Yeah.
It. And so there was that part where he said that, and my dad busted out laughing. And then after that, he was watching it and became, like this movie's really funny.
And then you're just like, yeah. See, you can't you get real. You don't know why they're laughing, but you're just excited that they're laughing at the movie that you like.
And
like,
it was like the part that I didn't get.
Yeah.
So.
Or I guess Seabass, like, why would a kid know what's going on? Which is hilarious. So he looks just watches like that.
I thought he was getting
beat up.
Somehow I didn't read the manly love part. Like I didn't understand what that was.
Yeah, because you're like, what's that mean?
I think the rapist wit comment went over my head.
Yeah.
And
Tell her I have a rapist wit.
Yeah, and rapist wit. The special feeling. Those little lines I just completely
But nothing
missed.
Like that you could really remember rewatch.
Or the odds. Like when they were betting. I knew they were betting, but I didn't understand that
I feel
the odds were getting worse and worse.
Confused. But I guess that makes sense.
Like, so I do know, I wouldn't say it went over my head, but I'd never seen Silence of the Lambs. I still haven't actually seen it. That's another one. It's like, what? I mean, but when they do that, I'd like to eat her liver with some farver beans and a nice bottle of Chianti. Like I did not know that was a reference to Silence of the Lambs. I mean, I still thought it was funny, but I had no idea what they were talking about.
Right? Yeah. Like, what is he alluding to? Like,
the one thing I remember. I mean, this isn't necessarily. Not something that went over my head, but the scene when. Like, they pull off on the road and they realize he's been going 8 hours the wrong direction. And you see Harry's ass crack. Yeah, right. I thought he was taking a shit. I'm like, oh, he's just taking a crack in the sand. So I guess maybe that was something.
Oh, and the 80 miles to a gallon thing, I didn't know on the new bike. I didn't really. I'm like, is that good?
It's 70, by the way, but
is it?
80 miles.
I'm pretty sure I can get 70 miles on the gallon on this hog. Wait.
What sounds funnier? 70 sounds funnier.
I think it's 70, but I don't know.
I don't know. What about actually, let me. Alright, so here's an ultimate question. What is your guys' favorite scene?
So when he first sees Harry with Mary, and they show his face, when he takes his hat off slowly, his face completely falls, and then he does the gag look. I've never laughed so hard at an expression, just a simple expression. I mean, so granted, it's not an entire scene. But that is by far my favorite part of the movie, when he just does that gagging look. Oh, hilarious! So crushed. Oh.
It looks like it was ad-libbed. It looks like
it probably
the way he just kept going with it didn't stop.
And
it's
he does look
it's it's that look when he didn't know what to do with himself. He was so devastated. He didn't know. Yeah, he didn't know what to do with himself.
But why is he up in the fucking behind the tree anyway? How did he get there? Just walking through the woods. I'll find him eventually.
I guess, maybe.
Sea Dog, Ciara.
I gotta go third or fourth. I don't know. Do you have one?
No, I'm here last. Is my plan.
Well, it's hard to. I mean, there's so many, but
this is hard.
I would say one that I'll only pick this one because it caught me off guard, pretty good. Was at the very end whenever Bobby's comes out, and they're all like, oh, and he's like,
he's got a gun.
His face, he looks and he slowly goes into his coat pocket, very it's very discreet. But if you watch it, you can see him oh, and then they're all happy, and then everyone's down, and he's just die. And I remember before we realized it was in his head.
Yeah.
Being like, oh my god. And then they're like, Lloyd. And he's like, well, oh.
Yeah.
Like,
that is pretty
deep
funny.
into this.
Actually, you know who they wanted to be the character of Bobby as a cameo? Was Mel Gibson.
Oh, jeez.
That would have been
funny.
I mean, nothing against whoever that actor was, but...
And he was pretty big back then, like in the...
Oh, yeah.
That was his height. Oh, definitely.
That would have been a good cameo to have.
Yeah.
Was that in the heart of the Lethal Weapons?
Oh, yeah.
Probably
Lethal
right
Weapons
around
started in the probably mid-late 80s was Lethal Weapons started.
Yeah.
So that would have been
Yeah, I guess
sweet.
it would have been after that then, yeah.
Or like a good cameo for any, like, random,
anyone.
Like,
celebrity
or actor. Like,
well, if you rewatch the second one, there's a scene at the beginning, near the beginning, where they are... like Lloyd comes back home and Harry's at the same place and he's like, here's my new roommate, and he's like making crack, I guess.
Crystal
meth.
The Breaking Bad.
And there's a guy in like a hat in one of those suits. How do you say that? How do you say it? Hazmat suit. I always like had dads. That's a reference.
Shout out.
It's our sponsor. But if you rewatch the second one, there's a guy in a hazmat suit. One more time though. In a hazmat suit, and it's Bill Murray.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So but it's like you don't even see it. Like it's like
you just miss it.
That sounds like a classic Bill Murray thing.
Right.
Who you never worked with, have you?
Oh my gosh, no. But I've heard stories of people who have, and it's just amazing.
You know, my sister met him on the street.
No way.
She took her students to Philadelphia for some field trip. This is years ago to show like this, I guess, the steps from Rocky and stuff or whatever. And he was just walking around.
Oh, I would lose my mind. And
she was like, half the students knew who he was, the other didn't. But it's like we work on all these movies. I mean, Ciara over here works on you've been on a lot of movie sets, but it's like all these movie sets and like. Really, you're gonna meet him on the street?
I know, right?
It's like,
how'd you luck out? It's like,
damn it.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Because that would be one of those people. Even Jim Carrey. So here's a question, and we keep thinking about our favorite scene because I still don't know.
You're stumped.
I'm stumped, man. What? So, do you? Well, one thing, Ciara, do you get starstruck with people ever? Like anymore? Now that you've been
Sometimes I feel like it's like Bryan Cranston. When I worked with him, I'm a huge Breaking Bad fan, and so I think the first interaction I had with him was just really, I just made it awkward, and my coworkers who knew I was a big Bryan Cranston fan were just like, dude, what? I think I greeted him to get out of the van to walk in the set, and instead I just kind of stood there while he got out of the van, and we just stood there, and he's like, where are we going? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm working right now. So yeah, it's just little things like that, or
Isn't it interesting though? I always felt that. There's that initial moment of oh fuck, there's that person, but then it kind of just
it fades really quick, yeah.
Especially because I'm more you're on these movies for months. I'm kind of I'm like the Urkel. I kind of would just pop in and out, for a day or something, or I'm a background extra or something like that. So I imagine being there for 30 to 60 days, you probably
especially if you're doing base camp, because you are interacting with them way more. Base camp, you're interacting with them and almost in their everyday life, where it's you see them as soon as they they wake up and they're tired or they're tired.
Can you explain what base camp is? So
basically it's you're where their trailers are, and you're getting them prepared for each scene throughout the day. So they'll come back and change or do hair and makeup and everything back there. And so you're just kind of their point person. You're who they trust for information and things like that. And so you kind of get to see them a little bit more intimately than when they're on set working, because then there's they're in the zone, and so they might be a little bit more quiet or a little bit more...
Unless they're method acting.
Yeah, unless they're method acting. But yeah, so I feel sometimes they're super cool, so it makes you a bigger fan, and then sometimes it's
So if you would be on a set with Jim Carrey, would you
she'd lose.
Would you be losing it?
I would.
Or would you be scared? Or would you be almost nervous?
I would be scared because
what if he was an ass?
That's the thing. I'd be so nervous. I would I feel in that environment, I would want to be someone that just pops in and out. That way, it won't be ruined. In case, just in case. But because I'd be nervous, I'd probably just make a complete fool out of myself. You know what I mean? I would.
He would be the one person that you haven't worked with.
Is that your number?
That's their number one.
That would probably be my number one, just because like I really think he's probably what made me want to start doing what I do, is because I was obsessed with like
Sandler number 2. Well, you already met Sandler.
Oh yeah, Sandler's off the list, but yeah, I don't know. He just made me love movies. Like he made me want to like, I mean, do like comedy, like stand up, all that kind of stuff. So like, I would love to see him in his element. But maybe it'd be better to like work on a more serious movie with him that way.
Maybe.
You know.
Well, good thing you didn't work on Man on the Moon, huh?
Yeah.
I know, you were saying about that.
That would be tough. Yeah. Have you seen Man on the Moon yet?
I have not, no.
It's based on Andy Kaufman, who's hilarious. If you don't know, I mean, you'd probably really like his stuff if you watched.
I'm familiar. I'm familiar enough to know that he's.
He pretty much trolled people before that was a thing.
He was crazy.
Yeah. It's so funny. But yeah, watching the documentary that just came out, Jim and Andy, where it's like EPK footage of Jim Carrey playing like method acting throughout the movie, but I didn't realize that he was method acting all the different characters he plays in the movie, because it's like,
oh man,
because Andy Kaufman would do that, like he'd be a character and then he would like never break just to like mess with people, either an actual character or just a gimmick that he was doing, and he would never break, and so nobody knew if he was being serious or not, you know. So seeing Jim do that with all these different characters, like if I was running base camp, I'd be scared, you know, of like accidentally calling him Jim instead of Andy.
Yeah.
And then,
he actually.
She wouldn't.
Yeah, like the and it's like the director. One of the clips was like, so Jim Carrey's playing Tony Clifton, who is one of Andy Kaufman's characters, who's a like night lounge singer. He's really douchey, like he's a real big jerk, and the director is trying to give notes like you would to any actor about how to do the scene. But so he's interacting with Jim Carrey as Tony Clifton, and he has to call him Tony, which is fine, whatever, that happens. But Jim Carrey's staying in character as Tony, so he's not respecting the director.
Right.
And so the director's like saying, like, please just do one take this way, and then we'll let you mess around and do the takes you want to do it. And he's like intimidated by Tony because Tony's such a jerk. So it was just like, I just was thinking if I was a crew member, it would be really hard. It's probably amazing to see the work happen when it's happening, because it's probably really cool. But, like, how slow that would be throughout the day. The different, you know, you'd have to tiptoe around certain things. You know, not only are you adjusting to Jim Carrey's personality, but now his personality is Andy, now his personality is Tony.
Sure, that's crazy.
It would be really
But you need to watch the movie before the documentary.
I would watch the movie before the documentary because it makes you understand Andy Kaufman a little bit more. And then watching the documentary after is, like,
what
cool.
he was doing,
Yeah. And then Jim goes into a little bit of, like, his new philosophies on life and things like that towards the end of the movie. That
are they interviewing him like throughout it?
So basically, the documentary is like one camera, two cameras on Jim in a room discussing his memories as they cut back to the EPK footage or footage of the movie, you know. So it's like Jim Carrey now reflecting back on the shoot.
Yeah, we'll have to. It's on Netflix.
Yeah,
you have to check that out.
And it was cool. I mean, and I think he recognizes what he did was difficult for the crew. You know, it's not like he just went in there like, oh, I'm just gonna mess with people. Like,
it's probably one of those things like whoever ADs or the bosses will say, like, look, guys, like,
just give him a space.
Be prepared. Like, don't be like, hey, what's the most annoying sound in the world?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, and you see that. I mean, you see that with other people do that to other actors, and like, it's like you cringe, or you see like the extras will just like, I'm like, oh my gosh, why are you doing that to somebody? There was like one clip where like Jim Carrey as I think Tony, it might have been as Tony Clifton, I can't remember, but he barges into the AD trailer. And, like, he's, like, angry about something that doesn't make any sense. And, like, the AD's just like, this is a production trailer. Like, because you don't want to... It's like you don't know if you're supposed to play along. Like, do you play along with him creating a bit?
Fuck.
Or do you just be like, hey, I'm just trying to work?
I would not want to be in that situation.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be... I wonder if the end of the... like, when they wrapped, I wonder if Jim was like, hey, guys, thanks for... being a
probably,
trooper.
I mean, I don't
or did
know,
he
maybe
just
not.
like...
Maybe he's like, look, I was playing those characters, that wasn't me.
Well, you said you had some experience with Steve Carell.
Yeah, with Foxcatcher.
Yeah, and like, I don't want to like... something I had heard was that he had told people at base camp, like, hey, I'm going to be in the zone on this, so don't take any disrespect to anything. And so, like, I feel like that's great, because you're opening up that door to be like, hey, like, this is kind of...
Were you on that full time? I was only...
No, I was on Splinter Unit, like, full time, but...
Because that's where... I think it's like where we met. I think that's when you signed me out, because I did like...
What was the scene? Do you remember?
I did... I actually got like pretty good screen time in that movie. I kind of got lucky with that one. Did I ever show you that? I have to show you that.
Oh, you're in Foxcatcher?
I only saw it.
It's during one of like like one of the wrestling matches, and Steve Carell's standing there, and I'm like, it's literally him, and then it's like me like right behind.
Oh, okay.
It's almost like.
Oh wait.
You probably.
Wait, the wrestling, not the MMA stuff.
I don't know.
At the end.
I don't remember. I have to try to. But so I was only there for like, I don't know. I want to say maybe 5 days, like total, like maybe spaced out.
Yeah.
But the day, I know we signed out. We were in a tent. I know that doesn't.
Oh, tent.
But we were up.
Out in the woods.
No, it was we were at one of the schools or something. But anyway, I remember even seeing Steve, and I remember a lot of the extras were like, Steve, say something, and he was just like, and then Channing Tatum will come off, do backflips and shit.
Yeah, right. He's like, I'll be the distraction.
Yeah, like, don't bother him.
It's pretty much, It's
But that seemed like, I mean, the movie, whatever, but like, everyone seemed pretty cool in that one.
Yeah, I think everybody seemed.
Mark Ruffalo seemed really awesome.
I was a photo double in that, and
for real.
Yeah, and
for
so I was for Anthony Michael Hall.
Dude, no, we talked to him. Though. He was great. Yeah. So that was awesome.
But I was kind of just sitting outside of the trailers, and Mark actually came up and introduced himself to me, which was really cool. You know, because it's just like I tend to overcompensate. Because I don't want to be that guy that annoys people, you know? So I was just kind of keeping my distance, and he came up and introduced me, which was awesome. And introduced himself to me, so.
Okay, so now it's up to me and C-Dog about the favorite scenes for Dumb and Dumber. Ciara?
I'll probably go with when they are eating the hot peppers.
I was just thinking.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that was hot. I thought it was. I didn't know it was hot peppers. I thought it was those like hot candies. Like what are those candies called? Those red hot. Is that what they're called? I didn't know it was peppers.
It just shows how little you are when you're like,
oh, that's so funny.
Little baby Brad.
I didn't know what it was.
Oh, those are hot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because every
The place was called Dante's Inferno, and the hottest thing they have there are red hots.
What's that cinnamon gum called?
Oh, did you ever like lick the wrappers and stick them to your forehead?
Oh yeah, and it burned.
Yeah.
What is that called?
Cinnamon.
Cinnaburst.
Big Red.
Big Red.
If you don't chew Big Red. But yeah, I don't know. In those scenes, I feel like there's so many things to look at. Like when they're squirting the mustard and ketchup, I'm like, I don't know who I want to look at.
Yeah.
The gurgling sound. I mean, all of it.
Yeah, you were even saying that when we were watching it the other night. She's like, when we get to the scene, I never know who to watch because they're both doing their own.
That's interesting to think. Actually, that's an interesting point that we could say that if for a movie, I guess any movies, but I guess specifically, let's say this one, you could almost like watch it once and be okay. I'm just gonna watch Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Then let's rewatch it. Now I'm just gonna watch Jeff Daniels.
Yeah.
It could be an interesting. It's almost like a new.
Yeah,
definitely.
A new like view of the movie.
Perspective.
Because that's true. Like that ketchup and mustard scene. Like who do you look at? Because Lloyd's doing the, but Harry's like,
He's like, here, this helps. It's all like. Oh yeah, it's just so.
That's
but not just the ketchup and mustard though in that scene, but
the way they laugh
when he goes away and they put the pepper in his burger and he's like, why don't you eat your burger? And then Jim just turns.
They're like literally like two little kids. It's so funny.
Yeah, that's good.
That was a scene me and my friend in grade school used to reenact.
That is really hilarious.
Because that was when he
that is.
Why would you eat it?
Yeah, and he's trying really hard to like, he's like, he does that perfectly though. Like,
it's like so organic.
It is.
How's your burger?
There you go. But there's an example of like how it's kind of a like you were saying like you're caught off guard, like. And it's actually funny because he's like talking about being at the wrong place at the wrong time, but that just happens to him.
Yeah, right.
Like, right off the bat because he eats that.
Yeah.
They give him the fat rat poisoning.
See, who says you can't have irony and foreshadowing in this movie? I mean, come on.
And then it happens.
Yeah, anyone who out there
Seabass comes back. There's a little bit of like.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
They fuck with him, and now he tries to.
Anyone out there who says that movies like Dumb and Dumber can't have some very
Deep
important elements. Yeah.
That's true. He does.
Life-changing.
He realizes it's him, and he's like, and that was good to have him be that guy that kicks the door in on him.
Yeah.
I would have never pictured it was going to be him, but yeah, when he says
Your
that,
name is Harry, isn't it?
I
I don't know, favorite scene, I guess that is pretty impossible. I mean, like, drinking the pee was pretty good when they get pulled over. Or, like, dude, it is when he hits her with the snowball. That is hilarious, though.
That's my dad's favorite part.
Nails her.
Right in the face.
And he doesn't even realize, he thinks,
Yeah, like he's so dumb. He doesn't get it's subtle flirting. He's like.
Another thing when I was a kid, I probably didn't get when he put the carrot and eyes as his on the snowman's balls.
Oh, you know what? I don't think I got that. I wasn't thinking that either. I wasn't. It wasn't until
2 boys who didn't.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe the second or third time I saw the movie, I understood it, But I do remember maybe at least once or twice seeing the movie and being like, what?
So I would say those scenes, but I guess that's a pretty impossible question because here the final question, and we'll wrap it up, guys. Do you think? Realistically, try not to be unbiased about it. Do you think this is the funniest movie ever in history?
Funniest movie ever.
I
can definitely say that it's. There's no, if I'm in the mood for a comedy, there's no movie I would rather watch.
Yeah.
There's no movie that I've laughed. As hard at. So I guess to me that would be the definition, right?
Is this better than Ace Ventura? You would think.
I would rather watch this than Ace Ventura. Yeah.
Ciara?
Oh.
I mean, they're both great.
Maybe that's a better question. What's funnier? Ace Ventura or Dumb and Dumber?
I don't know. I feel like Dumb and Dumber. It's just a go-to. It's it's so funny, and I really don't think I've met. Have we met anybody who really just doesn't like it? I mean, I feel like you said it, because it's not raunchy and it's not it can hold up between if somebody likes kind of slapsticky kind of stuff, it's the most, I don't know, it's just really funny.
Groundbreaking. I like that word. Yeah, I think also difference in the styles of comedy, and I feel in those two movies, because I think Ace Ventura is really
and then the mask, he's a straight character until he puts the mask on.
I think Ace Ventura and the Mask are more physical comedy too, as opposed to witty gimmicks and things in Dumb and Dumber, so
just classics, Dumb and Dumber. I feel like it is just classic scene after classic scene.
That's
every scene is such a pivotal, not pivotal, but it's such a.
It's I gotta wait for this one. Okay, well this one's coming up.
Scene, it's just a good I coming back to the one question. I don't think I could think of anything that was besides the unrated version, which I feel some stuff.
But that's a whole different movie. Even.
Right.
Yeah, I recommend if you could go to a record exchange or something and find just the old. Because I don't think the unrated version. I don't think you could choose what version to watch.
I think it just plays it.
But I would think it's a pretty flawless movie, man. I mean, truthfully.
Yeah, that's actually really good.
And it doesn't drag, and every scene is just something that's just so good. Even the stuff that's extreme, with him getting his toenails, with the sparks flying. I mean, it's funny though too,
The way that it opens, it seems it's so different because there's no credits or build up or anything or music. It just jumps right into him pulling up next to this lady in his limo, and I don't know, Yeah,
and then even when he's pulling away and he looks and buzzes.
Yeah,
it's just and it's just started. You're already ha ha ha.
And then the iconic song kicks in, which isn't on the soundtrack, which is bullshit.
What?
We have the soundtrack. You don't have that opening Boom Shakalaka.
Oh man.
Soundtrack, and I'm where
is it?
Where's Boom Shakalaka?
That's terrible.
That's another thing I hate when you watch if movies were once on DVD and then you watch them on Netflix or something, and because they don't get the same music rights, the soundtrack will change, and it's it throws me off, and I'm what is this? It's just so funny they'd give the okay for one thing and then not.
Yeah, that was the main song of Wanted for this soundtrack.
Oh, it's so good. Anytime we hear any of those songs,
oh yeah, that's the thing. Where was what part of the movie was this in again? Then we try and those songs really make me think of the movie all the time.
Oh, Liz, what about you? What do you I don't know, we keep jumping around. What do you think's better, Dumb and Dumber or Ace Ventura? I guess.
Well, but we've talked about this before, though, and I say there's different styles of comedies, so sometimes it's like hard to say.
But if you had to pick, if you're on an island,
if I was a gun to my head,
yeah,
let's get real serious. Well, all right.
Get dark.
Sorry, people always say like, gun to your head, pick. But apparently, that offended. Sorry. I don't know, I get it's really hard. But
might sleep on it.
I'm gonna lose sleep on it.
Yeah.
No, I guess I would say Dumb and Dumber. Just because my dogs are named after
I can say, you got
I have the
Dumb and Dumber mugs.
That's true.
Like, I'm just gonna let evidence speak for itself. I'm just gonna say
I actually do know my sister I don't think likes this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Does she like other Jim Carrey movies?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know.
Get her here. Get her
here.
I know, right?
Thanksgiving. It's like shit, man.
It's one thing that's I don't even know if I told you this, but like Brian and I we really have nothing in common besides liking to play Mario Kart in this movie.
Which Mario Kart? 64?
64, yeah.
Like the original.
And we play Wii.
Well,
but originally,
64 is broken.
We have to have a Mario Kart now. You still play it? You still?
Oh yeah, he has a whole spreadsheet of our wins and losses and the amount of blue shells we get, so that we can say like, I only came in second place because I got hit with more blue shells.
Really throwing me under the bus here with my nerdiness here.
No,
Come on.
dude, I want to play, man, because I feel like that would be a good challenge.
Oh,
I'm pretty good at that game.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be
But yeah, this is one of the few things where we can really connect. It's like
that song "Breakfast at Tiffany's." We're like, well, we got Dumb and Dumber. Nothing else. We got Dumb and Dumber. So.
Any last? I don't know. Anything to wrap this up?
Did we say who was dumb?
Oh yeah, that's right. No, that's
we gotta talk about this.
Yeah. Who? Okay. Final question of the podcast: who is dumber?
All right. I'm going to give my argument first. I honestly believe that Lloyd is dumber than Harry. And Harry is dumb, Lloyd is dumber. And I just... The big reason is, again, because Harry's helping Lloyd read, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, that is a good point.
I think that's huge. That's a big telling part of... but also, like, some people make the argument, whoa, Lloyd came up with that brilliant plan to make Seabass pay for their breakfast, right? But how did that end, right? He says, "Oh, so what happened in the movie? Did they get away scot-free?" He's like, "No, it was a good one. He came up and he slit his throat." It's just like, no, that shows that Lloyd is not that smart.
Do you know? Go ahead.
No,
go.
I think we all know.
No, I told the hotel thing.
What about the how that was apparently a scene from a Jeff Daniels movie?
Yeah,
I did not know that. She told me that.
If we saw parts of it on television like a little while back, I would like to watch it because Peter Farrelly said that's actually his favorite movie.
Oh really?
Oh really?
Maybe that's what's
funny.
so
Maybe.
I think
that's so funny.
So that's why that kind of negates any possibility of Lloyd being smarter than the two.
The reading thing is a good. That's
that's a solid argument.
Yeah.
I would think Lloyd would be dumber.
Yeah.
Her argument.
What
well,
were
go ahead.
no.
So you thought that maybe Harry could be dumber because he didn't know the difference between 7:45 and 7:45.
That is weird, but actually though, if you think about that, no, it does make sense. Never mind. But you would think like a quarter.
It'd be
25.
You
would think 25. But shit. Never mind, guys. Leave me alone.
That was one thing you said.
I 7:25.
I don't know. Were there other things? Were there other points you had?
I don't know. We talked about like does ambition equal intelligence? And
Oh yeah, we talked about like who's more ambitious. I mean, honestly, I feel like I don't think they didn't go to Aspen out of ambition. They went out to Aspen because Lloyd wanted to find Mary. That was it. Like he wasn't like trying to start he just wanted to find Mary.
How about that scene when he's like the emotional scene at the beginning? That actually was kind of like...
It was like really touching.
I'm getting tired of being nobody.
Yeah.
It's actually
that was that was probably my second favorite scene was the whole our pets' heads are falling off.
When they're in the apartment before they leave, yeah.
What do you think's the most quoted line from that movie?
That's tough. Because I feel like Ace Ventura has... More
quotable.
Oh, the alrighty then.
Yeah,
definitely.
Always said that.
Most quotable. The who is her.
Yeah.
Shit, I don't like. What is? That's actually a really good point. Like, is there anything that who
Well, so among our friends, we've, we do the welp, see you later a lot.
Big gulp song.
Big gulp song.
Big gulp
Well,
song.
see you later.
I think it's small.
There's not a whole, I mean, the pets' heads are falling off thing will happen.
Oh,
but nothing really can happen
when
organically from that movie.
Yeah.
It's all...
Right, yeah. Because they don't, because,
We landed on the
alrighty,
moon,
that's like...
you know.
We landed on the moon, which was an improv.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an improv.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful.
landed on the
How
moon.
did that even...
That's funny.
It's so good.
How does someone improv something like that, Like, it wasn't just... You mean actually saying that as he walked away?
Yeah,
or seeing the thing and saying,
saw it.
That's great! And
Yeah,
then he walks
that-
away.
I think all of it,
Oh,
the whole bit, which is like so
man.
funny because you
It's
know
so
how like movie
hilarious.
sets work. Somebody for whatever reason they decided was to throw that as like set dressing or whatever in the like they were like, oh, this would be a bar that would have a poster of the moon landing, whatever in the background. Who cares? And then he notices it and
Even like the
makes
bar-
such a hilarious thing about it.
I like some of the... it's funny. I feel like some of the quotes I think are funniest are the ones that neither of them say. Like, I like when the bartender is like, she has dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Or like I said earlier, but when he's just like... He's like, these guys aren't just anybody. They're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
What do we always do? Let me do it.
Let me do it.
Let me do it. Come on.
They don't even have to know.
You don't
How the hell do you know I got
That's a
gas?
rule. How the hell they know I got gas?
Yeah, you're right. They're just
They're all like mystified. Like they must be following us.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, that's... Oh, shit. That's why that's like... It's just a good movie, man. Like, I think it is a kind of a clever...
It is,
catch you off guard
it's
movie
a lot
because...
of irony too. Like
Yeah.
they just kind of...
keep.
It's like Mr.
They
Magoo
keep
type
mi-
of stuff.
yeah, like, they
like
keep
it works out
missing-
with them somehow.
Have you guys seen The Jerk?
I have not.
Yeah, I know you're not...
I
know
have
we've
not
talked
big-
about
I'm not a big
this.
Steve Martin fan.
But I said I'd see it because
They're similar in some
yeah.
ways.
Yeah.
It's
I can see
almost
that.
like a, like it's the same thing where like he keeps happening upon little blessings that are just like
Yeah.
ridiculous for him to be, And when I was watching Dumb and Dumber again, because I like The Jerk a lot, and I've been watching it a lot more recently, and then I'm just like, oh man, there are some like, it's not like a copycat by any means, but there's just some similarities about like naivety and I don't know the character.
the way like how it follows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so funny.
Liz, who do you think's dumber, Lloyd or Harry?
Good arguments. I would say. Well, here's what I'll say. I think Harry's more innocent, dumb. Lloyd's kind of like more of a maybe like an
Obnoxious
asshole.
dumb?
Yeah.
Because of the stuff that he does. It's like, are you dumb or are you like more of an asshole? Like, you know what I mean? Like when he does it with the bird and he's like, yeah, you know. And Harry's like, why would you do that? Like,
That's true.
he's
That is
like,
good,
oh my
that's
God,
good.
like,
Yeah.
that's terrible. And he's like, I took care of it.
He pulls her leg to gut up the steps.
Yeah.
Even though Harry nails her with a snowball.
Right.
I guess he
You're
thinks
right,
he's...
it is more
I
of an innocence.
but
You're
the
right.
more-
Because I guess he feels physically threatened, I guess, in that scene with the snowball scene. I guess he's like, oh, she really... I don't know, that seems
I think he
hilarious.
just doesn't get that she's just being playful.
Yeah.
You know, he thinks she wants to fight. But like the bird, though, it's like
That's
the
a good,
bird died.
I never even thought about how horrific that is.
Yeah, like he tapes his head back on and he's like, I sold it to a blind kid, which is like.
But see, that's
And then
street
it comes
smart.
up-
He got
yeah.
money.
So
to-
yeah, so
Then
that's
it comes
what I
up
mean.
on
It's
Eternal
like,
Affairs.
He did get the money.
She's like, who are these people? And then it's like, they're literally... Like,
Yeah.
at your door and up in your bathroom right now.
I tried to
Horrific.
make the argument to Brian that Lloyd was more emotionally intelligent, and then what happened right after I said that was when he like forced a hug on him.
Oh, right. Yeah. She was trying to say that that's not emotionally, socially, you were saying. Like,
Yeah.
you thought that Lloyd handled himself better in social situations. And then right after that is the scene when he says, like, to Mary, how about a hug? And then he rubs his face up against hers. He's like, I hate goodbyes!
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm pretty sure you don't know how to act around
Or was he
people
being
you just
creepy?
met.
Yeah,
Because he was like
True.
holding his heart. Ow.
You ever see there's like, do you ever see those fake trailers, like the recut trailers?
Yeah.
I think they have some Dumb and Dumber
to
ones.
make that like a
horror
horror
movie.
movie. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever showed you
I've
those.
seen a
They
few of
recut 'em.
those.
Mrs. Doubtfire one was pretty
They
good.
did a Lion
Yeah.
King one, didn't they? Make it like a
The Shining actually is like...
Mrs.
Yeah,
Doubtfire.
Shotty was like all like, was it a romantic comedy or?
It was like a family thing. Like, that was actually that was like one of the, I feel like one of the first like recut trailers.
Oh, they're so
I remember watching
good.
that like in early high school when I was
That's
just
funny.
losing it. But yeah, I don't know, guys. Any final words about this movie? So it's safe to say Lloyd is the dumber one, probably.
I think so.
I think that's a good point. The reading thing. I mean, that's like. And you're saying like Harry's more like innocent, dumb. Like he licks the frosting. I mean, he just wanted the taste.
That's what I mean. Like
just
he's
feel
just
bad.
like, and I just that's why I said Lloyd's like dumb asshole dumb.
Yeah,
like, you don't realize
he's more annoyingly dumb.
Like what you
and
like,
Lloyd,
you sold a dead bird to blind kid.
He's
See?
kind of a jerk.
So it's like, are you dumb or are you an asshole?
Aww.
You know, because he's talking about the whole time, and he's like,
yeah, I don't know though. I mean, what Harry did to Lloyd. I don't know, with Mary and everything.
Yeah, but
and setting up a fake date for him.
Yeah, but Lloyd also like poisoned him.
That's true.
True.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
one half tasting for fast effective.
he just dumps the whole. That's also something else we would act out.
What's it
as a
called?
child.
Everybody remember what it's called?
Turbolax.
Turbolax. Like, it's like you're gonna grab it right away.
You know what I did like in the extended scenes in the Unrated is when he unmounts the toilet and dumps it out the window.
He dumps the toilet.
That was pretty funny.
That was really funny. He put a towel underneath the toilet. And then,
that's pretty smart.
And then grabbed the whole toilet and dumped it out the window.
I'm just shaving.
Just cleaning my teeth.
But that's just an example of like such a great like comedic bit where it's just like, okay, your friend gives you Turbolax when you're on a date, then you're in her house, you have to take a crap, but not only is that bad, her toilet's broken. It just like keeps like layering up.
Yeah.
But my lord.
I hope we're not using the toilet, it's broken.
Like zooms in on him.
Because like who wouldn't like that's a nightmare for anybody. You're like, oh no.
Oh, it's so funny.
But that's what and that's what they talked about because of doing a sequel, and they made a good point because I guess for years the studios were like, oh, do a something about Mary sequel, make it something about Mary sequel, and they're like, well, like the Farrelly Brothers argument was like, well, the story in that ended. Because he got with Mary and like happily ever after, opposed to Dumb and Dumber, which is basically a full circle. Like they basically ends like where they started.
Yeah, it's true.
And so it actually is like
maybe even worse off than when they started because they have no. They're stuck in the desert pretty much.
Hey, Aliupa!
What did she say? Hey, Aliupa!
He's like, what did she say?
Say no.
It makes me so mad. Hey, Aliupa.
You know what I noticed? Here's why like the movie industry messes you up. Is like I noticed it was a female, like it was like a model driving the bus, and I'm like, no, that'd be a Teamster. That'd be some
I know.
old like 6-year-old guy driving that bus for all those girls.
That scene made my brother very angry.
Right,
I was like,
oh, they're so stupid because I got really mad about it.
That was one. I think when I was little and I used to like read about stuff, which I don't even know how I got information back then before the World Wide Web. But when I learned about like creative, like I thought directors and studios like got along and everybody did what like the same thing. Like I didn't realize that you could change what's written where like they didn't. Jim Carrey and the director didn't want them to get on the bus. Like, so the studio wanted to end with them getting on the bus and them, like, having the women and everything being fine. And, like, Jim Carrey and the director were like, no, that's not what the characters would do.
Yeah.
And so they actually battled over an ending, which I was like, oh, I never knew that, like...
But see, that would have been an opportunity for Lloyd to redeem himself as the one who's not dumber of the two. If he would have actually said, "Do you realize what you've done?" and then they ran, caught up with the bus, and got on the bus. But no, he still blows it again.
He's like,
"Do you realize what you've done?"
I need to watch it again.
Yeah, I feel like no. You guys need to get a hold of. You got to get a hold of the unrated version. The flow is like it's off, man. Yeah. I'm telling you, man. Like. I don't know. Try to get a hold of that DVD of the original, like and but then watch like deleted scenes. Like you see the one where he's in that crate like sliding across the.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
But all right, guys, man, we've been talking for an hour and a half. It's pretty good. We did good, guys. Any last words to the whackers out there?
Go watch it.
Go watch Dumb and Dumber if you haven't seen it, man. A little bit, only 23 years behind.
Yeah,
but
that's pretty good.
Go watch it now.
Check it out.
See if notice anything. Maybe.
But
why she was following them from Providence?
Yeah, I know that is perhaps that is a plot hole of some sorts. But all right. Well, hey, new guests, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
You guys are awesome. C and B, and guys out there listening, don't forget to like and subscribe and make some comments. Maybe have some discussions about this movie and. maybe some people, maybe there are some Dumb and Dumber haters out there.
Yeah.
Like, if that's possible.
Yeah. What did you not like?
Which if I hated Dumb and Dumber, Liz, would we be together? And same with you guys. Like, would that be like a deciding factor as a couple?
Then we would only have Mario Kart. I don't know if Mario Kart's enough to keep us together.
I don't know.
But yeah, so
it would be a major letdown.
Yeah.
Like then I have to explain why the dog's name's.
I know.
You know.
But alright, well guys, well, see you later. Thanks for coming, guys. Woo! Harry, it's Mary.
I've got a new age girl. Tell us what she's like. Environmentalist girl. Does she ride a bike? She has a crystal necklace. She spends a lot of cash. Well, her vibes are rather reckless. She's heading for a crash. Or her flowing skirt is blowing in a transcendental wind, and she wonders without knowing, where did we begin? Mary Moon. She's a vegetarian. Mary Moon, Mary Moon. Mary Moon will outlive all the septuagenarians. Mary Moon, Mary Moon. Oh, she loves me so she hates to be alone. She don't eat meat, but sure like the bone.